Go Xango Nation! Way to be! Thank you, Estella. Well, 44 years ago, Og wrote the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. He wrote the beginning, and he wrote the end, but in the middle, he was going to put the 10 time-tested principles of success. He painted himself in a corner. What in the world is he going to write? He didn't know. He spent 6 months, Betty said he was getting really ornery. Then he took 2 days off as the editor of Success magazine, and he started to ponder, just without work, just ponder. First day, not productive. Second day, not productive. Had dinner. He read to his children, put them to bed, went and laid on his bed for just a moment in his clothes, and all of a sudden it started to come. And for the next 15 hours, he got a massive download called the 10 Scrolls. One night. The very first words that came were these: today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which has too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. This message is for anyone who feels this now. Today, I am born anew. September 8th. This is your day. I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. A few moments later in the scroll, he would write that bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Good habits are the key to success. This is where we're going to want to look. If we're going to create what you want to create in the next 10 years, what are your habits of thinking? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. He's now written about love and persistence. We're nature's greatest miracle. To live present in the now, to manage our emotions, to laugh at the world, to multiply our value 100-fold. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's time for scroll number 9, I Will Act Now. A little sip of coffee, a Danish. 1968, New Hampshire, that was health food, okay? And these are the words that came to his mind. My dreams are worthless. Wow. My plans are dust. My goals are impossible unless they are followed by action. That's the difference between this conference. Can you feel it? This isn't one where we get all excited and go home and get discouraged. This is one where we get excited to go home to do the work of creation. We're going to do this one differently, right? Monday and Tuesday are going to be your most productive days ever in this business. Because Og went on to say, only action determines my value in the marketplace. 1K, 5K, 20K. Only action. And to multiply my value, I must multiply my actions. Think about this. This defines network marketing so beautifully. And I love what was said a few moments ago by our brothers from Mexico. I will walk where the failure will not walk. I will work when the failure seeks rest. What does that mean in practical terms? Monday, you get home from your day job at 6 o'clock, you're sitting in the easy chair. Maybe you've never done this before, but you convince yourself that tomorrow I will work. I'm really tired tonight, right? You now know tomorrow never comes. There's no such place. Because 24 hours from now, it's still now. 2 weeks from now, it's still now. 10 years from now, on the next anniversary, it will still be now. It'll still be now. I will call on 10 because I'm going to speak when the failure remains silent. I'm going to call on those 10 who will buy my goods. I will say that it's done. Done. Before the failure says it is too late. Well, we might have been caught up in procrastination. In that scroll, Og tells us, my procrastination which has held me back. Anybody been here? My procrastination which has held me back is born of fear. And he's learned a secret mind from the depths of every courageous heart. Here they are, right here. Here they are. They're your courageous hearts. If we got inside of each one of them and we mined down to the depths of them, we would find a great secret. Now, what's interesting, fear is not just a passing thing. It's part of the process. It's the gift this profession gives to you. But David, that doesn't make any sense. Do you not want to live a life of significance? Do you not want to be successful in every way, relationships, financially, spiritually? Then that requires that you take these unhealthy habits of thinking and you change them. There is no greater place on this planet than this profession. This profession does not create this noise, this fear. It reveals it. It reveals it. I've never met an unconscious person, someone who did not know what their thoughts were thinking, who found out they were thinking positive thoughts. So the business is going to help us reveal those very things that have been holding us back. That's the gift. And now we're aware of them. We get to take them on and take them out. How exciting is this? How often do we hesitate to ask somebody to come into the business because we don't want them to experience what we're experiencing? Yet the very thing we're experiencing is the gift the network marketing profession gives each one of us. So long as you're in a safe place. Welcome to the Xango Nation. This is a safe place. You see, this isn't about getting pin levels. This is about becoming pin levels. Our mission is to acquire ever-increasing levels of ability to handle ever-increasing levels of stress with ever-increasing levels of ease. It's not to have an easy life. It's to handle the stress with ease. Very quickly. Here's self-improvement. Everybody got it? We say this is self-improvement with a compensation plan. True. But we want to move beyond self-improvement. This is listening to the DVD, watching it. This is about reading books. This is about coming to conventions, right? Everybody got that? This isn't the work of creation. This is the preparation. Now, we apply the principle. That's called self-growth. We stretch and we grow. We do the work of creation, and it brings us to realization. You want to dream? Then figure this one out. I'm going to learn a principle and I'm going to apply it. Learn a principle, apply it. Learn a principle and apply it. What principles have you learned this weekend you're going to take home on Monday and apply in your business? Can you feel it? We're not going to go home and dream of Rolls Royces. Now, if that's your why, that's okay. Just don't spend your day on Monday driving it around in your mind. Get clear about it, what it's going to cost, what you're going to need for the down payment, and get about doing the work that creates the money to buy it. Everybody got it? Okay. Here's the secret, mine from the depths of all courageous hearts, because every person sitting here at the front has the same story. Did you face fear, Anton? Absolutely, he says. And what he did was to act without hesitation. And the flutters in his heart vanished. He knows, as do every great person on the front of this auditorium, that action reduces the lion of terror. Anybody had one of those when they went to pick up the phone? To an ant of equanimity. Equanimity. Now let's get the visual so we understand it, okay? Here's a telephone. Can everybody see this? It's on a pedestal. Got the visual? Now I know you've got vivid visualization, so you can see this telephone. Everybody got it? Now here I am. As I get closer to making those calls, I'm getting filleted wide open. It's revealing all of my fear. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's yelling at me, call, call, call. Success demands I call. This is yelling louder and louder and louder. And I reach the moment of truth. What do? I can tell you what they did. They jumped in without hesitation. Now, I know everybody here has done this before. If you attended school at any time in your life and had a science project or a term paper, does this sound familiar? Term paper's got to be done. Okay, I'll do it! And as soon as you jumped in, what did you say? That wasn't so. Why did I wait so? Could we add to that another word? Wow! Wow, that wasn't so. Wow, why did I wait so? What happened? What happened? This is my gift to you today. What I'm about to tell you. This is the gift. You shut off the noise. We heard that a moment ago, that little noisy thing. Shut up, I'm going to do this anyway. We jumped in. And we got to spend a little time with our natural genius. Your real self. How did it feel? Wow, sense of accomplishment. Wow, that was wonderful. Wow, that wasn't so hard. But what have most of us done for a lifetime? We went back here. Ah! Wow, wow. Then we came back here. Ah! Wow. Today, this is your new life. Go back on Monday and spend the day with you. And the only way you can do that is to be in action. You got it? You want to meet you? Then be in action. Og says, I hunger for success. Can you feel that? I hunger for success. Happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish in a life of failure, misery, and sleepless nights. Then my favorite line in all the scrolls. This is so telling. This was 1968. The concept of metacognition was not even known, and he poetically said it. Me, the real me, I'll step back from these thoughts. I will command, and my thoughts that usually try to control my life will obey my command. I will command, not them. They haven't served me. I'll command and obey on my own command. I will act now. If I delay, success will become betrothed to another, and lost to me forever. This is the time. This is the place. I will act now. Now, in your profession, what does that mean? It's really simple. We're going to connect with people. That's the action. If we want to connect with people, let's become aware of the principles and practices and processes of connection. Would that be helpful? Okay, here we go. First, the greatest secret of success in all ventures. Og started scroll 2 with that statement. This is the greatest secret of success in all ventures. What is it? It's called, anybody know? Love. But this is a very special kind of love. The Greeks had a name for it. They called it agape. You heard Beverly speak from the stage. She was standing about right here when she says, every morning I get up and what do I say? I am aware. Beverly was saying, I am agape love. Get it? What is agape love? Well, it's what can I learn from my experience instead of being in resistance and resentment every time something happens. 2, how can I show up and inspire others? Anybody here ever had a month where your check went down a little bit? Did you commiserate with everyone, or did you step up and show this absolute energy of how you're going to build and inspire everyone around you to do the same? And 3, you want to be able to use this experience to help you better understand what somebody else is experiencing. That's agape love. Each one of those increasingly important. Okay? Next principle. If we could learn this principle, we would solve half of our problems. Everyone has a wall of resistance. I want you to see it. It's a big rock wall with this big oak door hanging on iron hinges. Can you see it? You see this big rock wall? Everybody's got one. Dr. Robert S. Hartman, who did the mathematics for our assessment, the Cantor's transfinite calculus is used to help us measure how you think. His research showed that on average, in a non-adversarial relationship, that's between 2 companions, a person is still holding back 40% of their cooperation until they feel understood. Wow. Spouses, companions. We ought to do a little bit more listening and less fixing. Is that okay? This is a true fact. Maybe little known, but when you hear it, you'll go, that's why. Okay. And know that we are modeling from the first word out of our mouth how someone else can succeed in this business. The first word. Not when you get to the point you're signing them up and starting to train them from your first word. Would a network marketing professional vomit on somebody's wall? Think about this. Blah, blah. And it splashes back. And it tastes awful. It's called rejection. The other option is sometimes we want to be strategic, which means we're listening, at least we're pretending like we're listening, but we're formulating an answer while we're listening. And when they stop to breathe, we pounce on them like a fox on a mouse. That's strategic. Then there are those in the profession who have used sledgehammers to try to take down the wall. There are tools that make it much more pleasant and authentic and natural. Yep. These 2 tools are called empathy and intuition. Empathy, EM, means to stand on someone's path. Intuition is your inner sense of knowing, your gut feeling. I want to have you see this assessment. Can you see that on the screen? That's what the results look like to an assessment where we measured a person's thought processes. Just go to the top left-hand quadrant, section. It's called connection. Those are the 6 measurements that we measure to see how clear someone's intuition is in terms of empathy and and being able to see someone's value in terms of their appearance and their beliefs and their challenges, all the ways that we assess someone. This person, blue is perfectly balanced, green is 98% balanced. This is not unusual for a network marketer. You come to this profession with an enormous capacity to be empathetic and intuitive. However, on the right-hand side is a lot of dialogue we have with ourselves about ourselves. Bottom right-hand side, vivid visualization. Middle section, not very much in reality, showing up consistent with the fantasy. Running around like a chicken with their head cut off, obsessively thinking and knowing they're meant to do something more important, but they just can't get their arms wrapped around it. And so we go to the top section, and they're beating themselves up. They're calling into question their belief systems, their ability, and they're sacrificing time and energy to somehow prove they're okay. I talked last night and the day before about this topic, about using your gift of vivid visualization constructively to ignite your passion and drive your action so you can spend more time with you instead of living in resentment and anger when life keeps showing up differently than the fantasy and you beat yourself up because it'll paralyze you from doing the business. Here's a gift to you, Mandino.com. The assessment's free. Free. Go take it. Spend time clicking on the measurements. See what's going on in your life. Okay? Our greatest asset. Oh my goodness, our greatest asset is our life experience. Oh, I got to go back for a second. See that picture I found? Can you see it? This is like some of us carrying around our burdens. This is all of our failures and our disappointments and things that have been done to us and we've done to others, and we're dragging it through life like this. It's written all over our face, and every once in a while we look up and go, "You want to be in business with me?" My dad used to say it. It's not heck no, it's you got it. It's time to get this burden off. Everything that's happened in your past until September 8th is simply experience. That's all it is. It's just experience. It's experience. It's time for us to hold those experiences in our hand. Everybody go like this with your hand and just hold one of those experiences. I'm holding age 2 through 4. My father's in college, and I'm in the hands of a pedophile for 2 years. I can hold 1989 when we lost millions of dollars in a real estate collapse and spent the next 10 years paying it back. How many of you got these kinds of orbs in your sack? Ask this question from this day forward. Is anyone else suffering from a similar wound? The answer is what? Yes. It is time for us to stop dragging, focused on us and our pain and our frustration, wanting people to understand where we are. It is time for us to hold this differently. Your character has been forged in the furnace of adversity. You know what pain feels like. You can't take it back. But you can choose to use it differently. You can wear it right here in your heart as a reference point through which you can better see what's going on in another person's life. And I'll tell you, when you do it this way, there's finally purpose in all that stuff. There's joy in our journey moving forward as walls come down and connection is made. And most importantly, there's finally healing in your soul. You want your soul to heal? Is there pain? Anybody have any pain today? Don't keep going in asking why. Just hold it. Anybody else suffering from a similar wound? Of course. Then let me start practicing differently. Question for you. In what ways? In what ways have you been uniquely prepared for this moment in time? What have you experienced, or what are you experiencing? Who else is there? Who else needs to be pulled out? hand up, lift it out. Who else? Focus there, and you'll find thousands of people in need of what you have. The stage of life is crying for courageous people who will take this on. I sense in the 10 years to follow, we'll need more of them. We're not going to be worried about the economy, are we? But you can be worried about the economy in another person's life and lift them into something safe. Well, I've got 1 minute and 20 seconds to tell you and half hour worth of material, so buckle your seatbelt because here we go. Here are the practices. Practice 1. Start looking for what's important to other people. Hint, it most likely won't be important to you. Ramona and I do couples retreats up at our cabin in Bear Lake. We've had the privilege of serving 100 couples whose marriages were in trouble. We went snowmobiling on this particular one. We did 2-ups for the couples, and we had the wives drive. Most have never been on a snowmobile. Now, my objective was to raise all the trust issues in a relationship. And I can tell you, wife driving, husband on the back, for the first time on a snowmobile, they all come to the surface. This particular couple even hit a tree. That night, we're getting in the jacuzzi to look out over the frozen lake. It's 22 miles long, 8 miles wide, and the sun is rising in the east. The moon is rising in the east. It's reflecting off of this ice. It's beautiful. This one gentleman who'd hardly said a word for a day and a half climbs in the jacuzzi. 3 tattoos, 3 crosses, forearm, front, and back. Now, I've seen tattoos, but never the same 4. And I'm thinking, tomorrow we're going to talk about looking for what's important in another person's life. So I waited till the next morning. And I said, would you please share with us the significance of your tattoos? Now I mentioned, I don't have one. I don't want one. But this isn't about. It's about him. He lit up like a light bulb. All he wanted since he was a young boy was to join the Marines and get a tattoo. He joined the Marines. 9 months in, they're getting shipped to Iraq. He said, I went to a parlor and I put this on my arm. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I wanted him where I could see him. I wanted him protecting my chest, protecting my back. Then he talked about the Battle of Fallujah as a mortarman, where he's got a target on his back. He said, the smell of death was in every breath. There was not a dry eye in that room. He was touching us. Simply by noticing what was important to him, his walls came down. He opened up and he shared with us. Can we care enough to notice what's important to another person? 2, it's time to be a safe place. Somebody's got a wall. We hear a verbal hint. Door opens, right? They say, I've had a rough day. What do we often say in return? Me too. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to say, tell me more about that. Share with me what you're thinking. I'm listening. When's the last time someone cared enough about you to listen and until you feel absolutely understood, and then they didn't try to fix you? Anybody like that? Raise your hand. Let us see you had somebody like that in your life. Looks like it might be kind of rare. It is very rare. We're going to start becoming the rare person. The person who cares enough to listen. Now here's a fun one, because sometimes it'll open up and it's not always like, I've had a bad day. Sometimes it's, what are you doing? You've got a college education. You're doing network marketing? What do we want to say? Don't we want to get defensive and, oh, this is different, this is better, this is exciting? From now on, we're going to say, share with me your experience. And they say, oh, I got one of those once. Worked my fanny off for 3 years, filled my garage with inventory, recruited my favorite aunt and uncle. Then the company went bankrupt. And my aunt and uncle lost their house. I built an organization once. Tens of thousands of distributors, 50% of them active. And the company did go bankrupt. You are in a safe place. You don't want to pay the price to build and then have it not be there when you get it built. So draw on your experience. Have you ever worked tirelessly without counting the cost? Then you could ask, when you were working so hard, was there ever a time, see if this doesn't sound familiar, when you were so excited you could hardly sleep? Anybody been there? How about this one? Aunt and uncle, your side of the family or your wife's? Your wife's, my wife's. What are the family reunions like? You worked for 3 years. What did you want to create? Some income. How much? $10,000 a month. Did you ever get there? No. Have you ever found anything since to help you? No. Is there any chance that there still might be a little ember burning inside that says, this is possible if I just knew how? Well, yeah. Then we need to talk. Think about the difference between those outcomes. Someone who gets reactionary and responds with defensiveness ends up stomping out of the room. Oh, what a jerk. I never want to do business with him again. The other person who listened has a brand new distributor who understands the value of the business, just needed the right home. That's it. We want to be safe. Listen. When you're listening to someone, you're listening to understand. When they stop talking, here's a rule. Count. Just count with me. 1, 1,000. 2, 1,000. 3, 1,000. What we're saying is, I'm not going to jump all over you. I am really here listening. If they say, what are you doing? I'm just listening. Take some notes. You mentioned a moment ago something about this. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? That's being a safe place. Asking empathetic questions creates a safe place. Oh, I'd love to tell you a story of a friend I called after a year and a half, who when I called him, he said he was fine, but he wasn't. By the time the conversation was over, I asked him one question. How seriously are you considering suicide? He said, it's all I've been thinking about. You will have sacred experiences in your life if you will listen. You want to create a safe place. Greatest gift you can give is understanding. The greatest gift. Quoting Stephen Covey, empathy, standing on someone's path, truly listening, looking through their eyes, wanting to understand, is to the body, to the heart, what air is to the body. Let us start feeding hearts. Well, I'm going to do this very quickly because the walls come down, cooperation floods out. You now know volumes about this person. There are stories that are everywhere. Walls have never been so high, but they've never been so thin for the listener. I've never told anybody this, but you'll hear that often if you're a listener. The walls come down and you're in this new moment of decision. And it is an important moment of decision. Here it is. You cared enough to listen. You cared enough to ask empathetic questions. Can you care enough to share and invite? This is where we fall apart. Some of you can talk to the people, you just can't get them over the hump. I would suggest to you to look in two places. One, are your private thought processes all about how much money you're going to make, and you may not be yet, so it's uncomfortable? Or is this business revealing some noise and you're not sure you want someone else to suffer? These are the gifts we give. Let us not hesitate to give someone the gift of hearing taking on and conquering their habits of thinking. So agape love, really simple. We're going to care about people. Agape love is the lens through which we more clearly see the person. You notice we can't be focused on us if we're looking here. Here's the gift we give. I've heard your leaders for the last 2 days talk about this very topic. Isn't it interesting that when you talk to a 500K, 200K, you ask them about people, they all say these same things? I shared with you your greatest asset is your empathetic and intuitive ability. The greatest challenge is the noise that's robbing you and everyone else from being able to hear it. You talk yourself out of your own intuition. This day forward, we're going to begin a new life. We're going to learn to love people, and we're going to take action. Now, I want you to take an action. Joe was talking about the book, Today I Begin a New Life. I was in the darkest hour of my life when I asked to be shown how to do this, and I gave the promise that if I was shown, I would spend the rest of my life teaching other people how to do it. This book is the fulfillment of that promise. In the book, you will find Mandino narrating the 10 scrolls on a CD. It's included. Don't leave here without a copy of the book. You'll want to learn how to get through your furnace, connect with people, use your mind constructively to ignite passion, and live in passion-driven action. And the last thing for the day is this. I want you to hear this carefully. I listened to whispers. And I asked one night, how could I get these principles in the hands of a lot of people? Many have got some financial challenges. They're a little stretched. They can't afford to spend $10,000 to coach with me or $1,000 to be in a small group. What could we do? And the impression I got, I saw people buying 10 books, giving the 9 of them to their friends who were in trouble. I think we all know 9 people who are in trouble. And you get to come to a coaching session on Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. It's recorded if you miss one, where I will walk through the pages of the book with you in a group so that you can apply these principles in your life. We're outside. If you want a book, come and see me. I'll sign it for you. You want 10? I'll sign those for you. If you don't know who you want to send them to, send us an email by Monday with their names, and I'll personalize them for you. Let us serve you. I'm going to close with the words I started with, because I want us to all make this commitment. Today, can you say it with me? Today, I begin a new life. Today, I shed my old skin, which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I am born anew. Let me hear you. Today I am born anew. And my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Thank you, Xango Nation, and may God bless you all. Thank you.